The UFC is back this weekend from the Apex. It will be Rob Font and Jose Aldo in the main event. And yeah, it's a really good 14-fight card coming up. The co-main event, banger, Brad Riddell and Rafael Fiziev. Also, it's the return of Clay Guida. Guida's taking on Leonardo Santos. We've got Jimmy Crute, Jamal Hill, and also we've got a banger of a fight. Brendan Allen taking on Chris Curtis. Curtis back after his knockout win at UFC 268 over Phil Hawes. Very exciting card. And folks, make sure that subscribe button down below for some more UFC here on the channel. So our first fight is at bantamweight. It is between Luis Smolka and Vince Morales. Smolka coming off that win over Jose Alberto Quinones almost a year ago. It will be 364 days after his win over Quinones when he's going to take on Vince Morales this weekend. And for Smolka in that fight, looked pretty good. Landed a couple takedowns in that fight. Got the finish on the ground, beating Quinones in the second round. Before that for Smolka, losing to Casey Kenny, he got guillotined in the first round. He beat Ryan McDonald before that. Then lost to Matt Schnell and beat Sumadarji and a couple other fighters before re-entering the UFC. And for Vince Morales, currently coming off that win over Draco Rodriguez, it was an okay fight. He wins that one at UFC 265. He outstrikes Rodriguez in that fight. But is Draco Rodriguez the best UFC fighter? I don't think. But, I mean, yeah, Morales comes in the UFC. He loses to Sung Yadong. He beats A-Man Zahabi. The Zahabi fight is a fight where Morales is outstriking Zahabi throughout the entire thing. I believe Zahabi lands a takedown in that one, but can't do anything with it, and it was all Vince Morales in that fight over in Canada on the Iaquinta Cowboy card. Then Morales turns around, he takes on Benito Lopez. He loses the fight. It's a very close fight, but Benito Lopez barely gets the decision victory. And then after that, you've got the loss to Chris Gutierrez, where Gutierrez destroyed Vince Morales. Fight wasn't really all that close. It was all Chris Gutierrez working the leg in that one, and really Morales couldn't do anything against Gutierrez because Gutierrez worked the legs so well in that fight. And then of course Morales took the fight against Draco Rodriguez, which he won. A Smolka Morales fight, I don't anticipate this one going to the ground that often. If it does, maybe give the slight advantage to Luis Smolka, but both these guys not known for their takedowns. They're not known for their takedown defense either, so really that should cancel itself out. You're probably going to see a striking fight in this one for the entirety of it. And when you compare Luis Smolka and Vince Morales, you look at a guy in Luis Smolka who has had 24 pro fights. He's been in the UFC off and on since January of 2014, making his debut on the Rockhold versus Costas Philippou card, January of 2014 in Duluth, Georgia. And for Vince Morales, made his UFC debut in China, in Beijing on the Blades and Ngannou card. You're just looking at a guy in Smolka who's fought some of the best guys really at 125 and at 135 so far. In the weight class, he's taken on like Brandon Moreno. He's fought Mateus Nicolau, Ray Borg, Ben Nguyen, I guess, was all right for a while. Sumadarji's looking really good as well. Matt Schnell. But yeah, again, Smolka's got good jiu-jitsu, solid submissions. It's just how does he get the fight to the ground is the problem sometimes. But in a fight against Vince Morales, you might even see Luis Smolka getting this one on the ground. Nonetheless, though, you cancel out the ground game. I like Luis Smolka striking against Vince Morales, and I think Luis Smolka is going to win this fight. I like him by decision to pick up the victory. So explain to me how Alex Morono goes from beating Cowboy Cerrone in a co-main event, or actually before that. How does he go from fighting Anthony Pettis to co-main eventing and beating Cowboy in the first round, knocking out Donald Cerrone in the first round, to beating David Zawada to, oh yeah, you're the second fight on the card against Mickey Gall. I will be straight up with you. I don't think this fight is all that competitive. And I have been I don't know if I don't maybe say hater. I've been the highest on Mickey Gall recently. And I really, like, since the Mike Perry fight, honestly, since the CM Punk fight, because they brought Mickey Gall in to fight AEW Zone at CM Punk. I know he beat Mike Jackson, but Mike Jackson's not a UFC fighter, and CM Punk isn't a UFC fighter either. But yeah, Gall wins the fight. He beats Stage Northcutt, and that's the fight where you're thinking, oh, okay, Mickey Gall's actually really good. He's got a really good ground game. His striking's not great, but it's decent enough to get to the point where he can close the distance to get the takedown. Then he fights Randy Brown, he gets destroyed. He can't take him down. Okay, he took him down a couple times, but couldn't keep him down. Or no, he didn't take down Randy Brown. He took down, he didn't take down Randy Brown. He fights George Sullivan in a fight. It was weird. He takes him down immediately. He gets the takedown. No strikes were landed in that entire fight. He gets killed by Diego Sanchez, like absolutely destroyed. He wins the fight, then he fights Mike Perry, where Mike Perry takes him down a couple times, does a couple slams, but Gall's actually in the fight, but Perry wins. And then he beats Jordan Williams after kind of stunning him on the feet, and then he takes him down and he chokes him out. How does he do that to Alex Morono? I just don't know, right? Because Morono, like, his takedown defense isn't the best, but Mickey Gall's takedown offense isn't the best either. Because, yeah, one thing you can say about Mickey Gall's jiu-jitsu is very good. But if he can't land that takedown, obviously you can't get the fight in the ground. I mean, you look back at the Diego Sanchez fight, he was just getting outstruck at range in that fight, and then Diego Sanchez kept taking down Mickey Gall and really wasn't concerned about the jiu-jitsu from Gall. Same to be said about Mike Perry for the couple times they did take down Gall in their fight. But it's not like Alex Morono is going to be taking down Mickey Gall, right? It's just not what he does. I know he took down Reese McKee a couple times in their fight, but Morono's there to strike. He's there to get into your face and make it a fight. Mickey Gall in a stand-up fight with Alex Morono is not going to last. It's that simple. He's not going to stand in there and trade with Alex Morono. It's going to be somewhat similar to the Diego Sanchez fight. Morono will work the body eventually, and Morono's going to come in there. He's going to do to him what he did to Cowboy Cerrone. The only way Gall can avoid this is if he gets a takedown. Can Mickey Gall take down Alex Morono? Maybe, but can he hold him down there? I don't think so. And I know I kind of said the same thing about the Jordan Williams fight, but okay, Jordan Williams is not at the level Alex Morono is, right? I mean, Jordan Williams just lost to Ian Gary in his last fight, a fight where he was looking good until he got knocked down, and maybe Jordan Williams will get a short notice fight somewhat soon. I've heard rumors that he might take the Barberena fight. Maybe. I don't know. I guess. Maybe. Brian Barberena was supposed to fight in this card, supposed to fight Matt Brown. Brown, I believe, got COVID, so now we're just waiting to see if Barberena is going to get a fight. Obviously, right? He hasn't had a fight yet, so it's not going to be in the video, but if he gets a fight, we're probably taking Brian Barberena on a short notice opponent, probably. But back to Morono and Gall, right? How does Gall win this fight? I don't think he will. Again, the Williams fight, I was confident in Williams winning the fight, but not as confident as I was in this one. Like, I'm super confident Alex Morono is going to win this. But if Alex Morono can go back-to-back beating Zawada and Donald Cerrone, he's not losing to Mickey Gall. Give me Alex Morono by knockout. Give it to me in the second round. I think he wins this one fairly easily. Now we've got Azamat Murzakanov taking on Jared Vanderaa. This fight is now at heavyweight after Murzakanov was supposed to be fighting Felipe Lins at, I believe this is at 205. Now Felipe Lins obviously pulled out of his, 8th fight in a row. I don't know what's going on. Hopefully he goes back to the PFL. I don't know. But Murzakanov here and Jared Vanderaa. For Vanderaa taking this fight on very short notice, and he's coming off that loss to Alexander Romanov in a fight where that was just 2 months ago, and Romanov, he got mauled. I mean, that's what happens when you fight Alexander Romanov, though. Romanov's very good. He took down Vanderaa 5 times in that fight, and really just wasn't Jared Vandeera's night. But it hasn't been anyone's night so far against Alexander Romanov. It really hasn't. It hasn't. I mean, Juan Espino had a shot, but still, Romanov's undefeated. He's going to be a pretty good fighter, I think. I mean, you're looking at Dawkins, Aspinall, and then Romanov in that weight class in about 5 years. Just saying. But for Vanderaa, before that, he beats Justin Toff in a very good fight. It's a fun fight. He loses to Spivak before that one, and he just gets dominated by Spivak, and then he knocks out Harry Hunsucker before that. On the contender, he's taking on Azamat Murzakanov, and for Murzakanov, picking up that big win on the contender just 4 months ago. Big knockout finish. He's a -500 favorite on that card for a reason. That one, though, was at 205, going up to 265 for this Vanderaa fight. He fought an ACB and Brave before this run in the UFC. He was fighting at light heavyweight. He's fighting at open weight, too. Guy's undefeated. He's 10-0. Before fighting at ACB and Brave, he fought Fight Nights Global. He fought at Ring of Combat. He fought at United Caucasian Fight Championship. Okay, in Russia. Yeah, Murzakov's very good. He's 10-0. He's got a solid ground game. His striking is very good as well, though. This guy has got a lot of power. And when he needs to, he can go to the ground as well. But honestly, with this Vanderaa fight, I see this one a stand-up fight. I see a lot of striking in this one. And it's really who can land that bomb first. Vanderaa is one of these guys, though. When he beat Hunsucker, got him to the ground, won by ground and pound. He took him down in the first round. Do I think he's going to be taking down Murzakanov? I don't think that's going to be the case. But you're going to see a striking fight. Vandeera's got some power at 265. He does. He doesn't got the power some of these other guys do, like this one-punch power. Vandeera's going to need a little bit to wear on a guy. As I say that, he's probably going to knock someone out. He's probably going to knock someone out with one punch, but I don't think it's going to be this fight. Murzakov's going to come in here, I think. I think you're going to see a little bit of striking until Murzakov's going to land that big shot. He's probably going to knock out Jared Vanderaa. It's just a tough fight for Vanderaa on short notice. Murzakanov now doesn't have to cut weight. I know he's preparing for a fight at 205. He was probably going to beat Felipe Lins. He's going to beat Jared Vanderaa. I'm going Azamat Murzakanov to knock out Jared Vanderaa. I think we get a really big first-round knockout for Murzakanov in his UFC debut. All right, stay with me. It's a Clash of Styles fight. It is going to be Claudio Puelles taking on Chris Gruetzemacher. This one's so simple to break down. Can Puelles take down Chris Gruetzemacher? Possibly. Because you look at Gruetzemacher's last fight. It's a fight where he does win. He picks up a big win over Rafa Garcia. Picked Garcia to win that fight. Didn't go our way, but Garcia lands 5 takedowns in that fight. That's huge. He has 6 minutes of control in that one, but Gruetzemacher did enough damage on the feet and won. I believe he won 1 and 2 in that one. and he picked up the win over Rafa Garcia. Good win. It's just, the simple way to put this is, can Claudio Puelles do what Rafa Garcia couldn't? Yeah, I think he'll be able to land a takedown, but can he keep the fight on the ground to the point where can he finish Gruetzemacher on the ground? Because Gruetzemacher, this guy I don't think has attempted a takedown so far in the UFC. It's just not his style. Gruetzemacher is a striker, obviously. He's going to come in there, he's going to strike. He's defended some takedowns in the past, but we have seen him getting taken down by some fighters as well. You look back at the Davey Ramos fight, he got taken down 5 times in that one. He got taken down twice by Chaz Skelly. He's going to be there to get taken down, but it's the damage Gruetzemacher does do on the feet, which, you know, does some damage. Gruetzemacher is 35 years old. It's a little bit old for the weight class. We look at Claudio Puelles. This guy's 25, and he's coming off 3 straight wins here in the UFC. Given one of them, we'll talk about him in a second, but the first one's a knee bar finish over Felipe Silva on the Maya Usman card in Santiago, Chile. He's getting beat on the feet on that fight. He got knocked down in that one, but in the 3rd round, he gets the fight at the ground, he gets a knee bar, and he wins the fight. Big win for Claudio Puelles in that one. After that, he beats Marcus Mariano. And Marcus Mariano is the guy, training partner of Anderson Silva. They bring him in on a 2-fight deal. The first fight is a co-main event spot on a pay-per-view on the Anderson Silva and Israel Adesanya card. They match him up with Puelles in his second fight, and Claudio Puelles does what you think he's going to do. Takedowns after takedowns after takedowns. Keeps taking down Marcus Mariano and sent Marcus Mariano back to the independent circuit. He's 1-1 so far. He just fought actually a month ago and he lost his last fight by rear naked choke. So there's Marcus Mariano. But since then for Claudio Puelles, he beat Jordan Levitt. He beat the Monkey King by unanimous decision in a fight where I thought Levitt was going to win, but Claudio Puelles, it was a fun fight on the ground, and Claudio Puelles had over 10 minutes of control in that fight, winning the fight 2 rounds to 1. So, can he do that to Gruetzemacher? It is entirely possible, but Puelles' striking is not the greatest. Given the levels of competition he's fought in the UFC, aren't the best guys. Yeah, he beat Felipe Silva in a fight that he was a huge underdog in, and it's a good one over Felipe Silva, but Felipe Silva hasn't won a fight since he was cut from the promotion after that. He's 1-3 in Brave, right? He beats Marcus Mariano, and Marcus Mariano's 1-1 outside the UFC, and Jordan Levitt might be okay. He's 8-0. He was 8-0 going in that fight. We haven't seen him since. He's going to fight Matt Sales later this year. So that's Levitt. Again, it's just, you got, and Puelles lost to Martin Bravo on his first fight in the UFC. You just don't know the guys, the levels of competition Puelles is fighting. For Gruetzemacher, again, he's on the Ultimate Fighter. He beat Austin Springer. He lost to Artem Lobov, I do believe. He lost to Chaz Skelly after, Davey Ramos, and then he beat Joe Lozon. He lost to Alexander Hernandez in a fight where he got knocked out pretty quickly. You're not going to be, worrying about the Gruetzemacher chin in this one, because Puelles is not going to be, swinging for power or anything. It's just, can Puelles on the takedown, or can Gruetzemacher keep the fight standing? I'm going to ever so slightly lean towards Claudio Puelles. I think he will be able to get the takedown on Gruetzemacher. Again, he's going to do what Rafa Garcia couldn't. You saw it when Puelles was taking on a very good grappler in Jordan Levitt. He was able to get the better edge against Levitt. Levitt's a very good grappler. 10 minutes to control that one for Puelles. He landed the takedowns, and he out-controlled where the fight was going. He didn't allow Jordan Levitt to get his offense off in that fight. So, or get his offense going in that fight. So, who's to say he's not going to do the same against Chris Gruetzemacher? So I'm going to go with Claudio Puelles to beat Chris Gruetzemacher. I think he wins it by decision. I think Gruetzemacher will have his moments in the feet, but I think eventually, though, Puelles should be able to edge out a decision. Well, someone's getting knocked out. It will be Alonzo Menifield and Will Knight. Here we go. Alonzo Menifield coming off a very big win over Ed Herman at UFC 265, and before that he beat Fabio Cherant by Von Flue choke. Weird fight. Yeah, Menifield takes him down, just lands a Von Flue in a minute. And Fabio Cherant's next fight, he gets knocked out by Will Knight, and Will Knight knocks him out in the first round. So both these guys own wins over Fabio Cherant. And yeah, before that for Will Knight, he loses to Da Un Jung in a fight where Da Un Jung showing how, Da Un Jung's a good fighter, man. Da Un Jung's a good fighter. Lands 8 takedowns against Will Knight in his last fight. Crazy. And Da Un Jung beats Kenny Nzechukwu in his last one by knocking him out. Yeah, Da Un Jung's a good fighter. But yeah, Jung controls Will Knight throughout that entire fight and looks good. Before that for Will Knight, he beats Alexa Kammer. Yeah, pretty dominant takedowns, ground and pound. It was all Will Knight in that one. And for Alonzo Menifield, before the Fabio Cherant win and before the Ed Herman win, back-to-back losses to Devin Clark and to OSP, Ovince St. Preux. In the Ovince St. Preux fight, gets knocked down in the second round and knocked down in the second round. OSP was outstriking him, and in the Devin Clark fight, it was all Devin Clark outstriking Alonzo Menifield. Before that, from Menifield, 2 straight wins to start off his UFC career, the first one being to Vinicius Moreira. It's a knockout win over Moreira, and Vinicius Moreira is not very good, so we're just going to skip over that. Paul Craig's a big win, because Paul Craig is very good, and Menifield knocked him out in the first round on the Ngannou dos Santos card in Minneapolis, Minnesota. That was probably his best win so far, and it, it probably stays that way. So, it's probably still his best win. Someone's getting knocked down in this fight. I don't see this one hitting the mat, even though both these guys can land a takedown if they have to. Well, okay, not Menifield, but Will Knight can land the takedown if he has to. I don't think he will go to it. Well, no, actually, I take that back. Menifield took down Fabio Chiron pretty easily. So, yeah, when Menifield does go for takedowns, he is somewhat able to land it. He did land a takedown, I think, 2 against Ed Herman. But I don't see this one heading to the mat. I don't think it will, considering Alonzo Menifield is very good at stuffing takedowns. Will Knight isn't, but... Well, okay, this helps my argument. I'm picking Alonzo Menifield. I think Menifield beats William Knight, so it helps the argument too. Because if this one does have to go to the mat, I don't think Will Knight can take down Alonzo Menifield, but I think Alonzo Menifield can take down William Knight. And on the feet, I think Alonzo Menifield's a better striker than William Knight as well. Yeah, Knight is always going to have that power like he did in the Chiron fight, hitting him with a very nice check left hook. Sure, Will Knight's always going to have that. He's always going to have that power in his hands, but Alonzo Menifield does have that too, and also more like technically sound. Alonzo Menifield's a better striker than William Knight, so everything points to Menifield winning this fight. You look at the takedowns. I think Menifield can control Knight on the ground if he has to. I think Menifield can outstrike William Knight if he has to. And it's a tough fight for Will Knight because stylistically he doesn't match up all that well with Alonzo Menifield. So I think Alonzo Menifield is going to beat William Knight. Do I think he'll be able to finish Knight? I don't know, because it's hard to put him away. Put away Will Knight. He got knocked out by Tafon Chukwi back in 2019 in CFFC. I'm going to say Menifield by decision. It should be close, though. But, yeah, I think Menifield's going to win this one. Now, at strawweight, we have got Mallory Martin and Cheyenne Vlismas. Yeah, Cheyenne Vlismas or Cheyenne Bays, as you probably know her. Dropped the Bays name. Don't know entirely what's going on there. But Cheyenne Vlismas coming back here. She's got a big win. Coming off that big win over Gloria De Paula. It was a co-main event. I believe it was Uriah Hall and Sean Strickland, if I'm not mistaken. Super nice head kick knockout. Yeah, De Paula is getting up. Vlismas kicks her right in the head and knocks her out. Performance of the night, good finish. One of the better finishes you will see at 115. And before that, for Vlismas, she fought Montserrat Ruiz or Montserrat Quinejo. Yeah, I mean, it was the head and arm fight. It was boring. Don't watch it. She loses because she can't get out of a head and arm. And then Mallory Martin, her UFC run has been interesting too. She comes in, she gets subbed by Vina Janjidoba in her first fight. Vina Janjidoba is very good. It was a fight where really no punches were thrown. It was all Janjidoba taking Mallory Martin down. She subbed her with a rear naked choke again in the second round. The Hannah Cifers fight with Mallory Martin, she's losing. Like, she's getting beat on the feet against Hannah Cifers. She gets knocked down by Hannah Cifers until she lands that takedown in the second round, and she submits Hannah Cifers with a rear naked choke of her own. And their last fight was Polyana Viana. Viana takes her down immediately. Or no, it's Mallory Martin took her down, and Viana just throws up a million submissions, and eventually she gets the armbar and she subs Mallory Martin in the first round. Okay, if you're getting outstruck by Hannah Cifers, like, that's tough, because Cheyenne Vlismas is one of the better strikers. Maybe, okay, not one of the better strikers ranked at 115, but out of the non-ranked fighters at 115, Cheyenne Bays is one of the better strikers. Say it how it is. She is. And, like, again, if you're getting taken down, if you're getting knocked down by Hannah Cifers, how are you going to fight Cheyenne Vlismas? Now, it's kind of simple, though, for Mallory Martin. If she doesn't land a takedown, I think she's going to lose. And it's possible, but I don't think Cheyenne Vlismas' takedown defense isn't all that. I don't think it's all that bad. I really don't think it is. I think it's just. I think everyone has that thinks that because of the Montserrat Ruiz fight. But I mean, come on, it was head and arms, the weird fight. That's all Ruiz does, and I don't think Cheyenne Vlismas' takedown defense is all that bad. So can Mallory Martin take her down? Maybe, but I think Vlismas will be able to get back up, unlike the Montserrat Quinejo fight. So if she can do that, she's going to outstrike Mallory Martin. Cheyenne Vlismas' striking is good. She's got a lot of power at 115. You look at her contender fighting, I think it was against Hillary Rose. A lot of striking in that one. Dominant. She's got a lot of volume. And Cheyenne Vlismas is one of those fighters who can go for 3 straight rounds. She can consistently apply pressure to her opponents, and she'll always be there for 15 minutes. I don't know if Mallory Martin can strike with Cheyenne Vlismas for 3 rounds. I don't want to bank on a finish in this fight just because it's tough banking on finishes at 115. I'll say Cheyenne Vlismas by decision. I think she'll win this fight on the feet. I don't think Mallory Martin's gonna be able to really fight all that well on the ground. I don't think she'll be able to get it on the ground for all that long. So I think Cheyenne Vlismas is gonna win this fight. Again, I could see a finish in this one. Don't get me wrong, but I'm gonna go Cheyenne Vlismas to beat Mallory Martin. She'll get it done by decision. All right, these are my guys at 125. Manel Kape and Zhumagulov. For reference, I have taken Zhumagulov and Kape in every single fight they've had in the UFC. And they both had 3. So on all 6 of their fights combined, I have taken them in every single fight. Just saying something. So I gotta pick against one of them here. I'm not picking a draw. So Manel Kape and Zhumagulov. I will be brutally honest with you with Zhumagulov. He hasn't been great in the UFC. I thought we were going to get a lot more out of Zhumagulov coming out of Fight Nights Global, because he beats Tiger Almabekov, he beats Tyson Naman, he beats Ali Bagantinov in 3 straight fights in Fight Nights Global. He wins them all by decision. They all go 5 rounds. You're thinking, okay, this guy's going to be great in the UFC. His striking is very good, and yeah, he fights Raulian Paiva and he loses. It's a fight where Raulian Paiva, like, you can make the case Zhumagulov wins that one. Like, I'm not too concerned about that one. It's the Amir Albazi fight's kind of concerning. He gets taken down by Albazi twice in that fight. Albazi controls him on the ground, and he outstrikes Zhumagulov. So Zhumagulov back against the wall. He fights Jerome Rivera, and he subs Jerome Rivera in the first round. It's his first submission win on his career. Zhumagulov not really known for his subs. Rivera's a young guy. He's only 26 years old. He goes 0-4 in the UFC. He's been cut now, but, I mean, he just took out some tough guys, and Zhumagulov's a good fighter. He caught Rivera in the first round of UFC 264, of course, Conor and Poirier. Number 3, and you look at Manel Kape. Both these guys, too. Zhumagulov, the former Fight Nights Global Champion. Manel Kape, the former Rizin Champion. I was big on Manel Kape coming in the UFC. He was the Rizin Bantamweight Champion. He's going down to 125 to take on Alexandre Pantoja. I thought he was going to beat Pantoja. It didn't happen because Manel Kape, the points in that fight where he actually was trying to do something, he was winning. But Pantoja, took advantage of Manel Kape's inactivity, and Pantoja won the fight. Now Pantoja's probably going to get the winner of Figueiredo and Morono probably next to the title. Okay, Manel Kape then fights Matheus Nicolau. He beats Matheus Nicolau. Rewatch that fight and tell me Matheus Nicolau beats Manel Kape. I think Manel Kape wins that one pretty easily. And the Ode Osbourne fight, that fight just gets going in the first round. Manel Kape with a huge flying knee knocks out the Picasso of MMA, and it's not like Picasso's all that bad. Ode Osbourne's a good fighter. He comes back most recently beating CJ Vergara in a fight where he was an underdog and he wins. And oh, by the way, we picked that fight right. And that was very recently. That was just a couple weeks ago. So Manel Kape is fighting good fighters in the UFC. Zhumagulov's fighting good fighters in the UFC as well. But again, out of Zhumagulov, who has he beat so far? He's beat Jerome Rivera. Manel Kape's got a lot of power at the weight class. Same with I didn't say Zhumagulov's got a lot of power. Zhumagulov is a good striker. He's going to try to outvolume you, while Manel Kape is looking for the highlight reel finish like he did against Kai Oscara and like he did against Mizugaki back in Rizin as well. He finished Ian McCall. I believe that was a doctor stoppage, though. But, I mean, Manel Kape's power at 125 is very good. In a fight with Zhumagulov, you're going to see a striking fight with these two guys. You're going to see them standing there, and you're going to see them exchange. And when you think about it, yeah, Manel Kape's eventually going to get to Zhumagulov. Manel Kape's going to knock out Zhumagulov in this fight. That's where I'm going with this. I saw him. He's got the flashy style like he did the big knockout against Ode Osbourne. Now he missed weight in that fight, which is tough, but as long as he can get the weight going at 125, I think he's going to be a dominant force in this weight class. I think he's going to knock out Zhumagulov in the second round. And we're going to be looking at Manel Kape maybe one more fight and honestly a title shot. I mean, that's how good this guy is. He was the backup for, I believe, was it Morono? Yeah, it was Morono and Figueiredo in December. This guy's very good, man. Trust me, he beat Nicolau. He should be 3-1 with this win. The Pantoja fight was tough, but honestly, we could be seeing Kape fight Pantoja again, potentially for another title shot. So I like Manel Kape in this one. He's going to beat Zhumagulov, and he's going to beat him by TKO in the second round. Very interesting fight now between Jake Matthews and Jeremiah Wells. Crazy Jake Matthews is only 27 years old, and this is going to be, his 23rd pro fight. He's taking on a 35-year-old Jeremiah Wells. Wells finally making it to the UFC. He beats Warlley Alves. He knocks him out in the second round. Crazy finish, because that was a fight where Warlley Alves is coming off that win over Munir Lazzez, and remember how high people were on Munir Lazzez? Yeah, I mean, there was hype on that guy, and Lazzez was supposed to fight Nicholas Stoltze recently. That fight got canceled, and now, of course, Lazzez doesn't have a fight again, but Warlley Alves beats Lazzez. You're thinking, oh, he's going to destroy Jeremiah Wells coming in on short notice. No, he doesn't, because Warlley Alves gets KO'd by Jeremiah Wells in a fight where the first round, Wells is trying to take him down. He can't, because we looked at that fight, we're like, okay, Like, Jeremiah Wells has got some power, he does, but in a fight with Alves, he's probably going to take him down. But really, Alves' ground game isn't bad as well. I didn't see too many pathways to victory for Jeremiah Wells in that fight. Well, he found one. It's through the power, and I think that's going to be the same exact game plan here in the Jake Matthews fight. Jeremiah Wells has got some good ground. He's got a good ground game. He does. Jake Matthews does too, though. I mean, you look at Jake Matthews, he's got the loss to Sean Brady, but Sean Brady just beat Michael Chiesa in a fight, so I'm not putting too much into that. He beats Diego Sanchez, he dominates Diego Sanchez, he beats Emil Mech, he wins a couple fights. I mean, Jake Matthews has been in the UFC for a while. I believe his first fight was all the way back in 2014, where Nate Marquardt was in the main event in Auckland, New Zealand. The guy's been around for a while. I mean, he's been around for a while. He was on the Ultimate Fighter Nations season on the Canada versus Australia season. He lost to Olivier Aubin-Mercier on that season. But yeah, Jake Matthews has been around for a while. His striking is solid, but his ground game is where it's best at. Now, the thing is, Jeremiah Wells' ground game is good too. He's got multiple submission wins on his record. He's got 3 of them. He's got, I believe, all 3 of them by rear naked choke. So there's that. If you're looking at Jeremiah Wells coming into this one, I think his ground game is pretty solid. So even if Matthews does take him down, maybe Jeremiah Wells can fight pretty well off his back in that one. I just think it's a very close fight because on the feet, I like Jeremiah Wells, but on the ground, I ever so slightly lean towards Jake Matthews. It's just that I've seen Jake Matthews in so many fights so far in the promotion. He's been in there with so many guys, and yeah, he's picked up some big wins, but who's he really beat though? Like, he's beat Li Jingliang, which is probably his best win. He beat Diego Sanchez, but I mean, it's Diego Sanchez. And I just thought Jeremiah Wells probably win the first round against Warley Alves and then KO him in the second. Like, going into this video, I was going to take Jake Matthews, but looking at this fight again, yeah, give me the upset pick. Give me Jeremiah Wells to beat Jake Matthews. I think he's going to land a bomb on Matthews. And yeah, maybe Jake Matthews lands a takedown and, you know, beats him down there on the ground, but Jake Matthews has been subbed 3 times in the UFC. And for as good of a ground fighter as Jake Matthews is, he got subbed by a guillotine from James Vick, he got subbed by Anthony Rocco Martin, and he just got subbed by Sean Brady. Now, you can excuse the Sean Brady fight because it's Sean Brady, but Anthony Martin and James Vick, really, Jeremiah Wells probably is the same level of ground game as those two. So honestly, give me Jeremiah Wells. I like Jeremiah Wells to eventually catch Jake Matthews on the feet with his power, and if he has to, I think he can finish him on the ground as well. I think Jeremiah Wells is going to catch Jake Matthews early in this fight. I think that's how it goes. I really think Wells is going to show off the power. Yeah, he came to the UFC at an older age. He's 35 years old, but he's wasting no time. We're going with the big upset pick, Jeremiah Wells to knock out Jake Matthews in the first round. Let's see if he can go 2-0 in the UFC. Now we've got Maki Pitolo taking on Dusko Todorovic. And for Dusko Todorovic, this is a fighter who had all the hype around him. He was 8-0, or sorry, he was 9-0. No, actually 10-0, excuse me. 10-0. He starts off with a win over Daquan Townsend in his UFC debut. Okay, Daquan Townsend, not the best UFC fighter. Not at all. Daquan Townsend is not the best UFC fighter. Don't think he's fought since leaving the UFC. But Todorovic beats Townsend. They book him in a fight with Punahele Soriano. I didn't like the matchmaking because you got to fight where someone's always got to go. Just a weird matchmaking and fight because both these guys, you know, prospects, younger guys, you want them to fight right away. Someone's got to lose, and Punahele Soriano knocks him out in the first round. That's what was expected. I picked Punahele to win that fight. And they turn Todorovic around really quickly after getting knocked out, given it was 5 months, but still. He fights Gregory Rodriguez. Rodriguez dominates that fight. It's not competitive. Rodriguez takes him down. He outstrikes him. It was all Gregory Rodriguez in that fight against Dusko Todorovic. Todorovic couldn't get anything going in that fight. And yeah, Rodriguez won the fight. So now Todorovic is taking on a guy here, Maki Pitolo. Maki Pitolo comes in the UFC. He, off the contender, he loses to Callan Potter in his first fight. He beats Charles Byrd by knockout. Cool. But then he loses to Darren Stewart where he gets subbed. He gets dominated by Impa Kasanganay. And then he loses to Julian Marquez in a fight where Maki Pitolo was winning 14 minutes of that fight. He was taking out Julian Marquez at will. And then with a minute left, he gets caught in an anaconda choke. And Julian Marquez taps out Maki Pitolo. And Marquez wins. That's been Maki Pitolo's run in the UFC. Disappointing. Because of the Marquez fight. It was a fight that he was winning. He was a minute away from winning the decision. It was on a main card of a pay-per-view, and Marquez picks up the win, and then he gets the call out of Miley Cyrus, and the rest is history. Maki Pitolo has not fought in, 10 months? He's taken on Dusko Todorovic, a guy in Todorovic here, who his striking is very good. His ground game isn't the best, but Maki Pitolo really doesn't go to the ground game often, except for the Julian Marquez fight. Before the Marquez fight, we really hadn't seen much of the Pitolo ground game. The Marquez fight, that's all it was, and that was the most recent Pitolo we have seen. It was the new Maki Pitolo. It was takedowns after takedowns after takedowns, and it was a lot of dominant offensive wrestling from Maki Pitolo. 9 minutes of control in that one, that was huge. But then he gets caught at the very end by Marquez. So will Pitolo second guess himself in this fight, going for that takedown, considering he got caught very late in this fight, in that fight against Marquez, because Dusko Todorovic is not going to be submitting Maki Pitolo. Like, I doubt that's going to happen. I really don't think it's going to happen. If Todorovic wins this fight, it's going to be on the feet. And I think Pitolo will probably go back to the stand-up game. He'll probably look for a takedown. Todorovic's takedown defense isn't horrible. It's not great, but it's not horrible. So I think it's good enough to the point where he can hold up against Maki Pitolo and keep the fight standing, where I think that's where Dusko Todorovic will have the advantage. Don't love the chin of Maki Pitolo, because Sung and I rocked him a couple times. He got subbed instantly by Aaron Stewart. So, yeah, I think Dusko Todorovic is going to beat Maki Pitolo. I think he will. And I think that'll mark the end of Pitolo's first run in the UFC at the very least. I just think all around Todorovic is better. Yeah, Pitolo's good on the ground. He's susceptible of getting taken, he's susceptible of getting subbed on the ground, but that's not going to happen. Todorovic isn't the guy who's going to come in there and look for submissions. He really isn't. I know he's got 3 on his career, but early in his career, I just don't think it's going to happen. I think Todorovic is going to keep the fight standing. I think he's going to outstrike Maki Pitolo. There, I said it. I just think that's how this fight's going to go, because Todorovic's offensive wrestling isn't very good either, and yeah, so I'm going to Dusko Todorovic to beat Maki Pitolo. I think he'll get the win by decision, maybe even a finish, but right now we're going Dusko Todorovic by decision. Alright, I like Chris Curtis. I do. I'm one of his 1,000 followers on Twitter, and I give a lot of props to Chris Curtis for taking this fight on very short notice because Brendan Allen's supposed to be fighting Roman Dolidze in a competitive fight, definitely, but I don't think Curtis can beat Brendan Allen, and it pains me to say this because I like Chris Curtis, and I really liked him. I liked the knockout over Phil Hawes. I mean, it was great. Hawes was beating him, he had him on the ropes, and then boom, Chris Curtis with a big knockout finish. It was a fight that, again, Hawes was winning all the way in that first round, but Chris Curtis lands a bomb, and that's what Chris Curtis will always have. No matter what in this Brendan Allen fight, no matter how long Brendan Allen will potentially control this fight on the ground, Chris Curtis will always have that one-shot knockout power. It will always be with Chris Curtis. But other than that, man, and really, okay, that was probably the only way he was beating Phil Hawes anyway, because Phil Hawes was beating him on the feet. Now, definitely, Chris Curtis will always have the power again. But if he doesn't land that big power shot, Chris Curtis is probably losing to Phil Hawes. Against Brendan Allen, Allen's striking's decent. It's not what he's known for, obviously. But that's what he had to go to in the Punahele Soriano fight. There wasn't any grappling in that fight. It was striking between Punahele Soriano and Brendan Allen. And Brendan Allen outstruck Punahele Soriano for 3 rounds. Something going in that fight I didn't really expect. I didn't think it was going to be, if Allen's going to win this fight, I thought obviously it's going to be on the ground. No, he outstruck Punahele Soriano for 3 rounds. I'm not saying Brendan Allen's the best striker, but he does enough to get the job done. The Carl Roberson fight takes him down immediately, ankle lock, finish. He loses to Sean Strickland, but Sean Strickland is a good fighter, and Brendan Allen definitely wants that fight back, but for now, Strickland's looking higher up in the weight class. Before that, for Allen, he beats Kyle Dawkins, he beats Tom Breeze, he beats Kevin Holland. Brendan Allen's such a good grappler, and his striking keeps getting better and better, too. I just don't see too many paths to victory for Chris Curtis. And I want to tell you that Chris Curtis can definitely win this fight, which he can. He's got to land a shot though. It only takes one though from Chris Curtis. It only takes one. But unless Chris Curtis can land that one shot that can change the direction of this fight, I don't think he will beat Brendan Allen. Because Brendan Allen's striking, again, it's good to the point where he can hold his own on the feet, to the point where eventually he'll land the takedown and take down Chris Curtis. So Brendan Allen's going to win this fight. He's going to land takedowns. I think he'll be able to close the gap with the striking. The takedowns will be enough. And he's just a better grappler than Chris Curtis is. Not many guys are better grapplers than Brendan Allen is at 185. I'm telling you, that's how good Allen is. Allen's in the top 10, top 25, or not top 25. I'm sure he's in the top 25. He's in the top 15 for a reason. I don't know if he's officially ranked. If he's not, he should be. The winner of this fight will officially, though, be looking at top 10 guys. I just don't think it's going to be Chris Curtis after that huge win over Phil Hawes. Don't get me wrong, but this is going to be Brendan Allen's win, man. Brendan Allen's going to go in there. He's going to take down Chris Curtis pretty easily. I'm going to go Brendan Allen to submit Chris Curtis. I'll say he gets it done in the second round. Yeah, I want to pick Curtis, but I just think Allen's that much better on the ground. I think Allen's that much better against a lot of guys in this weight class on the ground. Give me Brendan Allen to submit Chris Curtis. I think he gets it done in the second round by submission. Get this man into the top 10. Really fun fight here at light heavyweight is between the Brute, Jimmy Crute, and Jamal Hill. Jamal Hill's coming off that weird fight against Paul Craig. It's a weird fight. Craig, I mean, he breaks his arm, I think. It's weird. Jamal Hill's... Oh, actually, didn't Dana White just say that his arm wasn't broken, though? I could be mistaken, but I think he said that in the press conference. I don't know. Jamal Hill's arm's just dangling, and the referee doesn't stop the fight, so... Craig kind of holds onto it, starts striking, or starts hitting him. It was, I don't know, it was one of those weird Arizona referees, one of those local guys, but yeah, Jamal Hill loses the fight to Paul Craig. Okay, it's gonna happen to you. Before that, for Jamal Hill, he knocks out Ovin St. Preux, which is a huge win for him. He knocks out Kilson Abreu. He beats Darko Stosic in his first fight, 2 in the UFC. He beats him by decision. And yeah, Jamal Hill's UFC run's been pretty good. He also beats Quan Townsend outside the UFC as well for the Knockout Promotions Light Heavyweight Championship in Michigan. For Jimmy Crute, I thought he was going to be Anthony Smith. I thought it was going to be a big win for Jimmy Crute, going to crack him into the top 7 of the weight class. Didn't go his way because Anthony Smith is a very good veteran fighter, and Anthony Smith is probably going to fight Jan Blachowicz next, and maybe Anthony Smith wins that fight, and maybe Anthony Smith gets another title shot. Crazy. So that just shows you how Jimmy Crute is, considering he was in there in the first round with Anthony Smith. Now, was Anthony Smith winning the fight up to that point? Sure he was. Crute did land some takedowns, but he couldn't keep Anthony Smith on the ground for that fight, so Crute tried to follow that Alexander Rakic style of fight of how they beat, and really Glover Teixeira and how they beat Anthony Smith. Didn't go his way in that one. That's all right. It's going to happen to you. Before that, for Crute, he beats Modestas Bukauskas, who's no longer in the UFC. He submits Michal Ozil-Shashek, who just picked up another one in the UFC, beat Shimon Gamzatov in his last fight. Good win for Ozil-Shashek in his last one. And then before that, for Crute, he loses to Misha Cirkunov by Peruvian necktie. Now, Cirkunov had that fight recently against Krzysztof Jotko in a fight where... Tell me Cirkunov didn't win that one. I'm just saying. But he loses to Cirkunov, does Crute. He beats Paul Craig by Kimura, and then he TKOs Sam Alvey as well. Jimmy Crute's got a very nice mash of grappling and striking in his game. He can submit you. He can knock you out as well. Against Jamal Hill, obviously gonna want to pick your shots against Hill in the feet because Jamal Hill has got a crap ton of power as well, and his volume striking is very good too. You saw that in the Ovin St. Preux fight. Just constant pressure out of Jamal Hill. Finishing OSP was a standing TKO finish for Hill. But on the ground, yeah, this is going to be Jimmy Crute's fight. Now, will he go there? I don't know. Jamal Hill, 57% takedown defense rate so far in the UFC. He has not landed a takedown, but that's just not Jamal Hill's game. For Jimmy Crute, 80% takedown accuracy so far in the promotion. The problem in the Anthony Smith fight was, he couldn't hold him down. But other than that, man, it's been a very dominant, dominant outings for Jimmy Crute in terms of the grappling, in terms of the wrestling. On the feet, this one's very evenly matched, but on the ground, you've got to give the advantage to Jimmy Crute over Jamal Hill. It's that simple. So when you look at it, right, Jimmy Crute should win the fight, right? Because on the feet, I think it's very even. It could go to either guy, but if Jimmy Crute does engage in the grappling, or if either guy, for that sake, does engage in the grappling, I think it will be Jimmy Crute's fight. Yes, he couldn't keep down Anthony Smith after taking him down. But Anthony Smith against a top 5 fighter. The Modestas Bukauskas fight, he knocked him out. The Michal Ozil-Shashek fight, he took him down, 8 times in that fight? He took down Ozil-Shashek 8 times. He was 8 for 10 in his takedowns in that one. He had 3 minutes of control, and eventually he submitted him by Kimura. And oh, by the way, that fight only lasted for 3 minutes, and he took him down 8 times. That means Ozil-Shashek got up 7 times, but still, the constant wrestling and the constant takedowns and the constant pressure out of Crute, I think is going to be huge in this fight. I think he will be able to take down Jamal Hill. Even though, I mean, look at Hill's last fight against Paul Craig. That fight just ended up on the ground. It's kind of weird. No takedown in that one, but I really like Jimmy Crute to beat Jamal Hill in this one. Again, I think the takedowns will be huge, and the wrestling's going to be huge. And on the feet, again, I find this one very evenly matched too. I think all around Jimmy Crute's going to beat Jamal Hill. I'll go the safe pick, decision win for Jimmy Crute over Jamal Hill. Clay Guida's back, and he's taking on Leonardo Santos. Both these guys coming off losses. But Clay Guida signed a new 4-fight deal at the UFC. This will be fight number 2 on that deal. Leonardo Santos is 41 years old, coming off the loss to Grant Dawson in a fight where he was losing the fight. I don't know why the commentators thought that Leonardo Santos was winning the fight, but Dawson maybe thought he was down, goes in there, tries to really go for the finish the last second of the fight, and he wins with 4 minutes and 59 seconds, passing the round. There's only 1 second left, and Grant Dawson picks up the win. He was going to win the decision no matter what, but he gets the knockout anyway. So That was Santos's, I believe, first loss in the UFC, because before that, yeah, he had that draw earlier on in his run, but he was looking pretty good. Again, he's an older guy, though. He beats Anthony Rocco Martin. He beats Kevin Lee by KO. He beats Adriano Martins. He beats Stevie Ray, and he beats Roman Bogatinov. And then he got the Dawson fight, which he lost. But Grant Dawson's a tremendous fighter as well, and Grant Dawson's one of these guys. He was, I think, didn't Clay Guida call out Grant Dawson? I think he did. Now, Dawson's last fight against Ricky Glenn, was it disappointing? 100% it was. It was a draw that, I mean, come on, Dawson. Dawson should have won that fight. But you look at Clay Guida. He has a split decision against Marco Madsen. I didn't think that fight was going to be competitive. It was a striking fight, and Mark Madsen beats Clay Guida. It was one of those fights, though, honestly, it could have gone either way. Madsen only attempts one takedown. He couldn't get it. Shows you how good of a takedown defense game Clay Guida does have. Leonardo Santos, I mean, his jiu-jitsu's good, but he can't get the fight to the ground, though. I mean, hey, Leonardo Santos, he's got okay striking. His jiu-jitsu's very good. Leonardo Santos has a 29% takedown accuracy so far in the UFC. Takedown defense is 89%. It's incredible. Can he take down Clay Guida? Guy in Clay Guida, 70% takedown defense. He's stuffed takedowns from Mark Madsen. He's been in there with some of the best guys in the promotion, and it's tough to take Clay Guida down. Clay Guida's offensive wrestling suspect, but still, you look at this fight, if Leonardo Santos can't take down Clay Guida, I think this fight's a toss-up. And I don't think he's going to be able to take down Clay Guida. It's one of the, okay, it's like Mackenzie Dern. Mackenzie Dern's jiu-jitsu is tremendous. And if Mackenzie Dern can get the fight on the ground, she will win every single fight she's going to be in, because her jiu-jitsu is that good. But the problem with Mackenzie Dern is her offensive wrestling is not the greatest. It's the thing that's holding her back from being, from beating Marina Rodriguez and getting a title shot next. If she could take down Marina Rodriguez in that fight, she wins it, because you saw the moments that Dern was on the feet against Rodriguez, and she was winning every single moment on the ground. If Leonardo Santos can't do that to Clay Guida, I think we get a striking fight between the two, and I think it's a pure toss-up. Because I don't think Guida's going to try to go in there and take down Leonardo Santos, because I don't think Guida can take down Santos too. Because Santos' takedown defense is good as well. So I think it's going to cancel each other out, and I think we're going to see a striking fight between Clay Guida and Leonardo Santos. A 39-year-old Clay Guida and a 41-year-old Leonardo Santos. What to expect? I don't know. Right? Like, who knows? Clay Guida's been around for so long. This is going to be fight number 58 for Clay Guida. He made his debut at UFC 64. Rich Franklin versus Anderson Silva. So, just for reference, when Clay Guida came into the UFC, Anderson Silva wasn't the UFC champion yet. It's been a while. It has been a while for Clay Guida. I just don't know. Like, Clay Guida will get into those crazy fights in the feet. He can sub guys, but he can get subbed himself. He's lost in every single every single way you can name. He's won in every single way you can name. I don't know, man. Give me Clay Guida. Yeah, I think you're going to see one of those fights in the feet. I think it's going to be volume. I don't think you get a finish, even though you have two guys who are very old. Guida's 39, Santos is 41. Their combined age is 80 years old, which is nuts, especially at a fight at 155 pounds. But damn it, give me the Carpenter. I'm going Clay Guida to beat Leonardo Santos. I think he'll outstrike him, because I think both these guys' defensive wrestling games will cancel each other out. And I think Clay Guida and Leonardo Santos will stand there and they will bang for 15 minutes. Give me Clay Guida to beat Santos by decision. Really fun fight here in the co-main event. It is between Rafael Fiziev and Brad Riddell. It's a good one, man. Both these guys 10-1. Both these guys, on that borderline top 10 of the weight class. I think Fiziev's 14, but still he should be higher. Riddell is what, 12? Very good fight. The winner of this is cracking into the top 10 for Fiziev. Last fight against Bobby Green. I picked Rafael Fiziev to win that fight. Bobby Green won that fight. I said that earlier when Bobby Green was fighting Iaquinta. I think a couple of you guys disagree with me. Dude, really rewatch that fight. Bobby Green won that fight against Rafael Fiziev. He did. Like, Fiziev doesn't do much in the third round. I thought Bobby Green won. I thought Bobby Green won 2 and 3. Fiziev doesn't really do much late in the fight. I don't know. And Bobby Green comes out there and he finishes raging Ally Quinton in his last fight. Bobby Green's a top 15 fighter, and no matter what you think of the decision, it's a good fight for Fiziev to have, because Bobby Green's one of those guys. He's a very good striker. He's been in there with a bunch of different fighters, and Bobby Green is still one of the elite of the weight class. So if Fiziev's in that level too, And now he's taking on a fighter in Brad Riddell, who is undefeated so far in the UFC. Comes in, beats Jamie Mullarkey by unanimous decision. He beats Magomed Mustafayev, who, oh, by the way, Mustafayev spinning back kick knocked out Fiziev in Fiziev's first fight in the UFC. And after that for Riddell, he beats Alex de Silva, and then he beats Drew Dober by unanimous decision. The Drew Dober fight, you saw Riddell mixing in the striking with the takedowns. He took down Dober 5 times in that fight, but really it was the striking out of Brad Riddell, which was key in that one, outstriking Drew Dober in that one and winning that fight by unanimous decision. The same can be said with the Alex de Silva fight. And the Magomed Mustafayev fight, barely winning that fight by split decision, even though he did get taken down 8 times in that fight, but still won that one by split decision. The Jamie Mullarkey fight was all Brad Riddell. Brad Riddell has been taken down, but like, Fiziev's not going to take him down. This is not really what Rafael Fiziev will do. The thing with Rafael Fiziev, though, it's hard to take this guy down. Rafael Fiziev has never been taken down in the UFC. Bobby Green tried a couple times, but obviously that's not where Bobby Green's best at. Moicano, I believe, tried once, but then he got knocked the hell out in the first round. I think DeCasey tried, but he couldn't get him down. Yeah, he tried 4 times, couldn't take him down. Fiziev's very tough to take down. Now, I'm not saying that Brad Riddell relies on his takedown game. He doesn't. But in his last fight, it was a nice touch to the Drew Dober fight. It made Dober worry about the takedown, and it opened up multiple lanes for Brad Riddell's striking. Now, in a fight with Rafael Fiziev, though, Fiziev's a very technical fighter. He's a very good fighter. He's, coach at Tiger Muay Thai, or really former coach at Tiger Muay Thai, because now he's training at Sanford. But still, Fiziev's striking so good, his Muay Thai is so good. It's tough to beat this guy on the feet. Even though I thought Bobby Green did it, it's still a tough game to play against Rafael Fiziev, and it's a tough puzzle to solve, because Fiziev will bring a lot of different angles that you're not going to see as some guys. He's got very nice kicks. He works the body really well as well. But Brad Riddell's striking is good too. It's such a good fight, man, because Riddell hasn't lost so far in the UFC, even though he's been in a lot of close fights. He doesn't have the power, obviously, Rafael Fiziev does have, because Fiziev, we saw him knock out Moicano. He put some pressure on Mark DeCasey in his fights outside of the UFC. A bunch of knockout wins for Rafael Fiziev, so I don't think Riddell's going to necessarily finish Fiziev, even though Fiziev has been finished by Mustafayev when he got spinning back kicked in the head. I don't think that's going to happen, but I think it's a very competitive fight. I think it's a very close fight. Very intriguing fight in the co-main event. Someone's got to lose and someone's got to enter the top 10 of the weight class. Again, I don't see the wrestling really affecting the fight too much from Brad Riddell, because I just think Rafael Fiziev's takedown defense is so good. So I don't think it's going to, but I don't think it's going to play too big of a factor in this fight. But again, it's not that Brad Riddell's takedowns were the key component of his game in the Drew Dober fight. It was just, again, it set up his striking, and it really worked the striking well against Drew Dober. But going back to Fiziev and Riddell, I like Rafael Fiziev to win this fight. I think he will. I think the striking is going to be too much. I think we're going to see a striking fight for 15 minutes, or how long it does last. It's tough to put away. It's tough to put away a guy like Brad Riddell. He is so tough in there. So I don't think you're going to see a finish, but I think you see Rafael Fiziev edging a decision victory over Brad Riddell. I think he'll win it by decision. I think the striking will be enough. I think Fiziev's going to work the body really well in this fight. I think he'll work the head well. And yeah, we're going to go Rafael Fiziev to beat Brad Riddell. I think he gets it done by decision. Could be a close fight. Could definitely see Riddell getting the win, but we're going with Fiziev. It is time for the main event of the evening. We have got Rob Font and Jose Aldo Jr. Font in his second straight main event, and Jose Aldo looked very good in his last fight against Pedro Munoz. The winner of this fight potentially fighting for a title shot. Here we go, and Jose Aldo, man, I picked Pedro Munoz to beat him. It didn't go our way, and Jose Aldo looked like prime Jose Aldo in that one. The leg kicks were back, the striking was back. Oh my goodness, was it a dominant performance for Jose Aldo. The thing about Aldo, though, his leg kick's still there, obviously. Still got some of the best leg kicks in the game. He just doesn't throw them as often as he used to. Obviously, when he was the featherweight champion, he was throwing leg kicks all the damn time. You saw them early in the first round against Pedro Munoz, but you didn't see him throughout the entire fight. I think he only threw 8 of them, but still, Jose Aldo still got that in his back pocket. And the question will be, if Aldo does decide to keep throwing those leg kicks against Rob Font, how will Rob Font respond to the first leg kick from Jose Aldo? And how will he respond to the second and the third? Because Jose Aldo has got some of the best leg kicks in the game, and Rob Font hasn't seen anything like that so far in his career. Because you can say what you want about Rob Font. He's fought some good guys in the UFC, he's picked up a lot of good wins, but he hasn't fought anyone on the level of Jose Aldo. The closest to that is Cody Garbrandt, obviously. But Cody Garbrandt just didn't really show up to find the Rob Font fight, but I think you gotta credit that a lot to Rob Font and how good Rob Font was in the Cody Garbrandt fight. He shut down all the offense from Garbrandt, and it was all Rob Font beating Garbrandt in that one. So maybe it wasn't a bad Cody Garbrandt, it was just a good Rob Font. Marlon Moraes against Rob Font. Okay, is Moraes kind of washed up now. He is, and Rob Font knocked him out in the first round. It was a shot that Moraes probably wouldn't have been knocked out with maybe 3 years ago, but Font wins and he does what he has to do. So going back to Jose Aldo though, against Pedro Munoz, again, he looked very good in that one. Winning that fight by decision. Before that for Aldo, he beats Marlon Vera. It's a fight where maybe not the most striking involved in that one. It was Jose Aldo again pressing him up against the fence, working his control in that one against Vera, and he won the fight by decision. Not the most entertaining fight, but Aldo did what he needed to do to get the victory. Before that for Jose, he's got the title fight against Piotr Jan. He loses the fight. It's a fight where it's a lot more competitive than you do think it was before the fourth and fifth round where Jan just decided to take over and eventually works the ground and pound for the entire fifth round. The referee just doesn't want to stop the fight until the very end, but you remember that fight because of that fifth round, because the dominance Piotr Jan showed at the end. But what you forget is that Jose Aldo was very competitive early in the fight against Jan. Rounds 1 through 3 were very competitive with Jan and Aldo. And before that for Aldo, he's got the fight against Marlon Moraes. It's a fight that he wins. I don't want to hear otherwise. Aldo beat Marlon Moraes. Technically, it's a win for Moraes, but go watch that one. Aldo wins. It's a split decision. It's a bullcrap decision. And then before that for Aldo, he loses to Alexander Volkanovski. Aldo couldn't get going in that fight, and I thought the Volkanovski fight was the start of, damn, this might be the end of Aldo's run. It's his last fight, 145. He goes back down to 135. He looks rejuvenated now, and he's, winning fights again. But the Volkanovski fight, we didn't really know much about Volkanovski at the time. Yeah, he was coming off that win over Chad Mendes, but still, Volkanovski was still somewhat unknown. I know he beat Darren Elkins, but Aldo is really Volkanovski's first big test, and after Volkanovski beat Jose Aldo, I was like, all right, this guy's a number one contender. He waited for the winner of Frankie Edgar and Max Holloway, and then Volkanovski, of course, beat Holloway twice, and now he's got the winner of Brian Ortega to show for it after, and probably we're getting Volkanovski Holloway 3. Very fun fight. Excited for that fight, definitely. But, probably in March. But back to Jose Aldo again. He loses the Volkanovski fight. Before that, he picks up back-to-back wins over Jeremy Stephens and Renato Moicano. It's the comeback after losing 3 out of 4, 2 to Max Holloway, 1 to Connor, and then he picks up the win over Frankie Edgar for the interim championship. But again, you look at the guys that Jose Aldo's lost to. It's Conor McGregor champion. At the time, Conor McGregor was, when Conor was focused and when it was prime Conor at 145, I don't know how many featherweights beat that Conor McGregor. And you can't put Conor McGregor in the GOAT conversation at 145, obviously, because he never defended the championship. But go rewatch the Conor McGregor that beat Jose Aldo, the Conor McGregor that beat Chad Mendes, and I know he was at 155 for the Eddie Alvarez, but I put that in the same kind of era where Conor McGregor was still technically a featherweight when he went up to challenge Eddie Alvarez. There's not a guy who's beating Conor McGregor at 145, at least that I've seen. I think Max Holloway gives that Conor McGregor that beat Jose Aldo a run for his money. I think Alexander Volkanovski maybe does as well, but still, at the time, that's the best featherweight I've ever seen. When you go look at legacy, though, obviously you can't put Conor in that discussion, but pure striking-wise and pure fighting-wise, that Conor at featherweight is one of the best featherweights I've ever seen. Now, Aldo's lost to Max Holloway. Max Holloway is probably the best featherweight of all time if it's not for Jose Aldo. Alexander Volkanovski's on his way, and then Marlon Moraes, he didn't lose that fight. And then Piotr Jan's the interim champion right now. He's one of the best 135 pounders in the world. He'll probably beat Aljamain Sterling in the rematch. So that's Jose Aldo. He's 30-7 on his career. You look at his opponent, Rob Font. Font is on a roll. The Cody Garbrandt fight, winning that fight by a unanimous decision, and that's the big fight for me, because it's not like Cody Garbrandt's bad. Cody Garbrandt's not a bad fighter. He's going to be fighting Kai Kara France at 125 in December. Garbrandt's not a bad fighter. The Rafael Santos fight showed, okay, Garbrandt's still very good. I know he lost twice to Dillashaw and once to Pedro Munoz. Those guys are good as well, and Garbrandt beat Dominic Cruz before that and beat Mizugaki before that. Garbrandt's a good fighter, so I don't want to hear anything about Garbrandt being washed up. He's not. Maybe his chin all there? I don't know, because he took bombs from Rob Font for 5 rounds, and it was just a dominant display of striking for Rob Font throughout 5 rounds. Landed 176 significant strikes against Cody Garbrandt, over 100 more than what Garbrandt did land in that fight. Before that for Font, he shows the power in the Marlon Moraes fight, knocking out Moraes in the first round, and then before that, he dominant decision win over Ricky Simone. Even though Simone does what he does pretty well, he grinds on his opponents, he lands takedowns, but still, Font did enough to pick up the win in Washington, D.C. And then before that, he beats the current Bellator bantamweight champion, who's going to be fighting the night before this card, of course, with Font and Aldo. It's going to be Horiguchi versus Sergio Pettis. I think Horiguchi beat Sergio Pettis. I picked Pettis to beat Archuleta back in the day, or earlier this year, but that's a close fight. I think Horiguchi's going to beat Sergio Pettis if you want a quick prediction on that. But Sergio Pettis is a tremendous fighter, current Bellator champion. Rob Font beats him. He outstrikes him. and before they lose to a Santos, but that's Rob Font in 2018 that was really fighting once a year. Font's back, and he's fighting more often now, and now he gets an elite spot against Jose Aldo Jr. in a striking affair. I think it's going to be a banger of a fight. I don't really see this one hitting the mat. Both these guys not known for their takedowns. Obviously, Jose Aldo is very good at keeping the fight on the feet. Very good takedown defense out of Jose Aldo. That's what he's known for, again, keeping the fight standing and outstriking his opponent. Rob Font, you're not going to have to worry about that with the Aldo fight because, of course, I don't think Rob Font's going to be shooting for takedowns on Jose Aldo. I think you are going to see a striking fight. We're going to find out who the better kickboxer is. And is it Rob Font right now, or is it Jose Aldo Jr.? Surprisingly, man, Jose Aldo's only a year older than Rob Font. Rob Font's had, 23 fights, but recently hasn't had that many fights. Jose Aldo Jr. has had, 37 pro fights? Crazy. He's had 14 more than Rob Font. He's only a year older than the man. Who are we going with, though? Who's the better kickboxer right now? I think it's Rob Font. I think Rob Font beats Jose Aldo. I haven't picked Rob Font yet here on the channel. I haven't. I picked Marlon Moraes. I picked Cody Garbrandt. The Cody Garbrandt fight for me was so impressive out of Rob Font. It really was. He outstruck a very good striker in Cody Garbrandt, and a guy that Cody Garbrandt always has that one-punch knockout power. Rob Font knows this throughout the entire 5 rounds. You know that Cody Garbrandt, even in the 24th minute, can land a bomb and shut the lights off. Rob Font knew that. He stood in the fight and he outstruck Cody Garbrandt. He fought a cautious fight, but also an aggressive fight at the same time. He outstrikes Garbrandt in one of the most impressive striking performances I've seen all year. One-sided striking performances. He makes Cody Garbrandt look like an amateur in that fight, and he sends Cody Garbrandt down to 125. That's how good the fight was for Rob Font in that one. He knocks out Marlon Moraes beforehand. And yes, Jose Aldo is good. You look at the Pedro Munoz fight. It's one of the best Jose Aldo performances I've seen in a while. It's definitely the best Jose Aldo performance at 135. But it's a different game against Rob Font. Font's power is there, his striking's there, his volume striking combined with the power that he does bring is so hard to match. Again, Jose Aldo brings a different game, but still, I like Rob Font to beat Jose Aldo Jr. And you know what? I think he's going to finish Jose Aldo. Rob Font is going to knock out Jose Aldo in the 3rd round. He's going to finish him by TKO and either give Rob Font the winner of Aljamain Sterling and Piotr Jan, or what's probably going to be more likely, Rob Font is going to fight TJ Dillashaw, or the winner of this fight, no matter what, Font or Aldo, is going to fight TJ Dillashaw, and the winner of that fight is going to go fight the winner of Aljamain Sterling and Piotr Jan for the undisputed bantamweight championship of the world. And folks, thank y'all for watching another UFC preview and predictions. Of course, Rob Font, Jose Aldo in the main event should be a very fun 14 fight card. I believe it's a late night card, which personally a lot of people like the morning cards. I like the late cards. I like being up late watching UFC. Should be on after all the college football games, should be on after the SEC championship game, should be on after the Big Ten championship game and all that stuff. So excited to watch some college football and then watch the UFC late night on Saturday. Again, we're going Rob Font to finish Jose Aldo in the 3rd round by TKO. And folks, join me back next week though. UFC 269 from Las Vegas, Nevada. The main event, Dustin Poirier finally gets his 2nd crack at the UFC Undisputed Championship, where he takes on Charles Oliveira, and also the GOAT is back. Amanda Nunes takes on Juliana Pena. So folks, thank y'all for watching. Make sure that subscribe button down below for more, and Mamba forever.